Alright, so before we get started with everything, I want to point out that I do not intend for these builds to be min-maxed for a few different reasons, but here's two big ones. One, if these builds are min-maxed, then people will think they have to have certain items, or they have to do something certain. They have to have perfect items to be able to do what I do or others they see do. This is not the case. This game can be played with subpar items, even in help mode, and it just gets easier the more min-maxing you do, and this is with every game, right? And two, some people don't want to watch a 30-minute video, which I totally understand. And I don't want to drag the videos out any more than they need to be dragged out to, so if anything, I will make them into different videos for the prep series, including full min-max gear with mercs, torches, annies, skillers, crafteds, and more. All in all, I just want to refresh people on the most played builds and what they look like with the ideal gear that cookie cutters look like. These guides are for returning players, continuing players, and especially for newer players who want to give Diablo 2 Resurrected a shot. The more newer players we introduce into the community, the better that the game will be, and maybe Blizzard will continue to support it and give us patches and fix little bugs that have been around the game for the last 15 years. So, let's get into everything. Enjoy the guide, and thank you for watching. What's up everyone, today we're going to go over one of the most played builds in Diablo 2, the Blizzard Sorc. This is a super easy laid back build that can turn into a serious contender for insane damage builds. Blizzard is exactly how it sounds. You cast a Blizzard over your enemies and let the ice rain down. Blizzard does damage over the span of 4 seconds to be exact, and this skill has quite a few synergies. So, to start off with, we want to make sure obviously that we're maxing Blizzard, Glacial Spike, and Ice Blast. You also want to make sure that you put in 10 points in the Cold Mastery. And here you can see I have 13 in Cold Mastery and 6 in Ice Bolt, but this is because I'm on the 99 character and I had a few extra points to allocate. Now here you have a choice. If you want to be super versatile and magic find in more than just a few locations, we're going to go ahead and max another skill. In this case, we opt to choose Thunderstorm. Tons of people like going Hydra or even Firewall. This just makes us a hybrid and gives us the opportunity to magic find in more areas so we don't have to skip immunity packs. Of course, we put a point in the telekinesis so we can go ahead and get our teleport, because who doesn't like a free teleport instead of trading for a super expensive Enigma chest that other classes need to have the teleport around. We also put a point in the static field, and the way this spell works is you spam cast it on a boss to reduce their life by 50 to 75%. Seriously, that's all this spell does. It's by far the most broken spell in Diablo, so as you can imagine, this is also why Sorcs are queens of magic finding. By the time you can kill a boss with Hammered In, Sorcs can kill it just as fast, or even faster. Now, make sure you remember we want at least 1 point in Warmth, and 1 point in Frozen Armor, as this will be our go-to buff. Personally, I like going for Shiver for a little bit more defense, but it's fine if you stick with Frozen Armor. Warmth is a passive mana regen, which is massive for Sorcs. And this just gets better with our gear equipped and when you have charms in the late game to increase your skills even more. Now it's time to go over both best in slot damage and magic finding gear. Let's start off with the ultimate magic finding setup. This is all perfect gear, and in order to accumulate all of this, it requires you to be pretty rich late into the league. This setup I have here equals a whopping 473% magic finding, which I have to add is a bit overkill, but there have been times in the past where I want to push the 500 plus mark, and this is the ideal setup that is somewhat weak on survivability and damage, but it gets the job done. Now remember, Frost Sorcs are super limited to what they can farm, but since we actually added our Thunderstorm into the kit, we can run different types of runs. We can run Chaos, Mephisto, we can run Pits now. There's just a ton of versatility in this build. Now for the stats. For strength, we're going to need 156 points allocated so we can equip our Monarch Shield. Once we have this, every single point afterwards can be dumped in the Vitality. We don't need dexterity, nor do we need energy. To hit our strength threshold for both sets of gear, I like to play it safe and pump 144 points in the strength. That way we can equip our gear that gives us strength to compensate for the rest of the strength that we need to equip the Monarch. So here, for example, I'm going to equip my War Travelers and my Shaco, and now that gives me 156 strength exactly. That's just enough to equip our Spirit Monarch. Now, let's equip our Sandstorm Treks. And that right there, that one item is enough to equip our Spirit Shield. These two items, the Shaco and the War Traz, are from our Magic Find set that we'll go over later. And our Sandstorm Trek is from our damage set that we'll go over later as well. So, to start off, we have our Shaco. This gives us +2 all skills, a flat increase to life and mana based on our level, and 50% magic finding. Talrash's Amulet is one of 3 pieces that we're going to be wearing. This amulet gives us +2 to Sorc skills, life and mana, and lightning resist. Now we move on to the Oculus. This is a sought after magic finding weapon that gives us 50% magic finding, +3 to all sorcerer skill levels, 30% FCR, 20 to vitality and energy, 20 to all resistances, and this is socketed with an Ist rune slammed into it for an extra 30% magic finding, bringing its overall MF to the 80% on the weapon. Next we have Talrash's body armor. This gives us an increase, a 40% increase to cold, lightning, and fire resistances, a big chunk of overall defense, and 88% base magic finding. But as you can see, it's slammed with another Ist rune, and it increases our magic finding by 113%. Our third piece of Talrash's that we're going to be wearing is the belt. Now this belt is pretty unique. It transfers 37% damage dealt to mana instead of health, but it also gives us 15% magic finding. And since we're wearing 3 pieces of the Talrash's set, we get a big 65% extra magic finding bonus from this 3-set bonus. Our gloves of choice are Chance Guards, otherwise known in the community as Chancies. This is a perfect roll of 40%. Our rings of choice are perfect Naggle rings. They're 30% magic finding. So both of them paired together is an extra 60%. Paired with the War Travelers, which is another perfect roll at 50% MF. All of this stuff added up, as said before, equals 473% magic find. If you wanted to hit that 500% threshold and are crazy rich, you can opt to replace our Spirit Shield that we run in our build for a 4 open socket Monarch with 4 Ist runes slammed into it for an extra 100% magic find, bringing our total to 573%. But again, this is just extreme overkill. Now let's move on to our overall best in slot damage setup for this build. So starting off, we have a Night Veil. This helmet is very unique. It gives us +2 to all skills, 15% cold skill damage, a big chunk of defense, and we also cut our duration out from when we get frozen by half. We keep our Talrash's Amulet, but we also have the substitute, Mara's Kaleidoscope, in case we want to really go for all resistance caps, but usually you just do not need that on a Sorc. Next up, we have our weapon, and for this we have 2 options, but in my opinion, one is a clear winner, but this can be a personal preference to be completely honest. Death's Fathom. This orb gives us +3 to Sorc skill levels, 20% faster cast rate, and a big 30% cold skill damage. It also gives us a big chunk of lightning and fire resist. Our second option would be the Heart of the Oak rune word. It would give us +3 to all skills, 40% FCR, 7 mana stolen per hit, and increase our maximum mana pool by 15%. It also gives us 40% all resistances. So if you don't mind sacrificing damage for 20% more FCR and mana stolen per hit, the Hodo is your go-to. But this is my best in slot damage gear without crafted items, and I would personally choose Death Fathom for the 30% cold skill damage. Now let's move on to our shield. It's a basic spirit rune word inside of a Monarch shield, and this is what we need 156 strength for in the build. Spirit shields are our go-to. It has everything we want. +2 to skills, faster cast rate, faster hit recovery, faster block rate, vitality, mana, cold lightning, and poison resistance. This shield is overall just uncontested. Every Sorc wants one, every Sorc needs one. Now moving on to our gloves. We always want to use Mage Fist until you can manage to find an absolute wonderfully crafted pair of gloves with faster cast rate. Mage Fist already comes with 20% FCR, and it gives +1 to fire skills, which just adds to our warmth. It also gives us 25% mana regen, as we stated before, is just massive for sorceresses. Now let's move on to the item that everyone thinks of when they hear Diablo 2, the Stone of Jordan. 2 of them because, well, why not? This ring gives us +1 to skills and 25% increased mana pool, so with the pair we get +2 to all skills and 50% increased mana. These rings are 100% replaceable with any good crafted ring, or even rare ring for that matter. A Bull Kathos, a Ravenfrost, anything that you can really replace these with, go for it. These rings, in my opinion, are just overrated. We just use them for the +1 skill. It gives us extra damage, so why not? The last item in the build is our best in slot caster belt, besides again a super sick crafted one, the Arachnid Mesh. This belt gives us +1 to all skills and 20% FCR, and a 5% increase to our overall mana pool. So there it is, both sets. Personally, I tend to go with a mix and match of different items from both sets to obtain 250-ish magic find while maintaining my damage and survivability. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I really appreciate all the support. With the recent announcement of Resurrected, you can expect me to start streaming a lot of Diablo 2 very soon on twitch.tv/FluffyAmigoTV. I'll put the link on screen and in the description below. There is more to come in the Diablo Resurrected prep series I have planned, so don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment down below with any suggestions or maybe things I forgot, or just to chat. I always reply and look at each comment. Thanks, and until next time.